That's impossible. Look for yourself, Uwetsiageutsa. She used the Cherokee word for daughter, suddenly reminding me very much of a mysterious ancient goddess. Grandma searched through her purse for the antique silver compact she always carried. Without saying anything else, she handed it to me. I pushed the little clasp. It popped open to show me my reflection, the familiar stranger, the me who wasn't quite me. Her eyes were huge and her skin was too white, but I barely noticed that. It was the mark that I couldn't quit staring at. The mark that was now a completed crescent moon, filled in perfectly with the distinctive sapphire blue of the vampire tattoo. Feeling like I was still moving through a dream, I reached up and let my fingers trace the exotic-looking mark, and I seemed to feel the goddess's lips against my skin again. "What does it mean?" I said, unable to look away from the mark. "We were hoping you would have an answer to that question, Zoe Redbird." Her voice was amazing. Even before I looked up from my reflection, I knew she would be unique and incredible. I was right. She was movie star beautiful, Barbie beautiful. I'd never seen anyone up close who was so perfect. She had huge, almond-shaped eyes that were deep, mossy green. Her face was an almost perfect heart, and her skin was that kind of flawless creaminess that you see on TV. Her hair was deep red, not that horrid carrot-top orange red or the washed-out blonde red, but a dark, glossy auburn that fell in heavy waves well past her shoulders. Her body was, well, perfect. She wasn't thin like the freak girls who puked and starved themselves into what they thought was Paris Hilton chic. That's hot. Yeah, okay, whatever, Paris. This woman's body was perfect because she was strong, but curvy. And she had great boobs. I wish I had great boobs. Huh? I said. Speaking of boobs, I was totally sounding like one. Boob. The woman smiled at me and showed amazingly straight, white teeth, without fangs. Oh, I guess I forgot to mention that in addition to her perfection, she had a sapphire crescent moon neatly tattooed in the middle of her forehead, and from it, swirls of lines that reminded me of ocean waves framed her brows, extending down around her high cheekbones. She was a vampire. I said, "We were hoping that you would have some explanation about why a fledgling vampire that hasn't changed has the mark of a mature being on her forehead." Without her smile and the gentle concern in her voice, her words would have seemed harsh. Instead, what she said came off as worried and a little confused. "So I'm not a vampire?" I blurted. Her laughter was like music. "Not yet, Zoe, but I would say that already having your mark complete is an excellent omen." "Oh, well, good. That's good," I babbled. Thankfully, Grandma saved me from total humiliation. "Zoe, this is the High Priestess of the House of Night, Neferet. She's been taking good care of you while you've been—" Grandma paused, obviously not wanting to say the word unconscious. "While you've been asleep." "Welcome to the House of Night, Zoe Redbird," Neferet said warmly. I glanced at Grandma and then back at Neferet. Feeling more than a little lost, I stuttered, That's not really my name. My last name is Montgomery." "Is it?" Neferet said, raising her amber-tinted brows. "One benefit of beginning a new life is that you have the opportunity to start over, to make choices you weren't given before. If you could choose, what would your true name be?" I didn't hesitate. "Zoe Redbird." "Then from this moment on, you shall be Zoe Redbird. Welcome to your new life." She reached out like she wanted to shake my hand, and I automatically offered mine. But instead of taking my hand, she grasped my forearm, which was weird, but somehow felt right. Her touch was warm and firm. Her smile blazed with welcome. She was amazing and awe-inspiring. Actually, she was what all vampires are. More than human. Stronger, smarter, more talented. She looked like someone had turned on a blazing inner light within her, which I realized is definitely an ironic description considering the vampire stereotypes, some of which I already knew were totally true. They avoid sunlight. They're most powerful at night. They need to drink blood to survive. Eesh. And they worship a goddess who is known as Night Personified. Thank you. It's nice to meet you, I said, trying really hard to sound at least semi-intelligent and normal. As I was telling your grandmother earlier, we've never had a fledgling come to us in such an unusual manner before. Unconscious and with a completed mark. Can you remember what happened to you, Zoe? I opened my mouth to tell her that I totally remembered it, falling and hitting my head, seeing myself like I was a floating spirit, following the weirdly visible words into the cave, and finally meeting the goddess Nyx. But right before I said the words, I got a weird feeling, like someone had just hit me in my stomach. It was clear, and it was specific, and it was telling me to shut up. I really don't remember much, I broke off, and my hand found the sore spot where my stitches poked out. At least, not after I hit my head. I mean, up until then, I remember everything. The tracker marked me. I told my parents and got into a ginormic fight with them. Then I ran away to my grandma's place. I was feeling really sick, so when I climbed the path up to the bluffs, I remembered the rest of it. All of the rest of it. The spirits of the Cherokee people, the dancing and the campfire. Shut up, the feeling screamed at me. I guess I slipped because I was coughing so much and hit my head. The next thing I remember is Grandma Redbird singing, and then I woke up here. I finished in a rush. I wanted to look away from the sharpness of her green-eyed gaze, but the same feeling that was ordering me to be quiet was also clearly telling me that I had to keep eye contact with her, that I had to try really hard to look like I wasn't hiding anything, even though I didn't really have a clue why I was hiding anything. It's normal to experience memory loss with a head wound, Grandma said matter-of-factly, breaking the silence. I could have kissed her. Yes, of course it is, Neferet said quickly, her face losing its sharpness. Do not fear for your granddaughter's health, Sylvia Redbird. All will be well with her. She spoke to Grandma respectfully, and some of the tension that had been building inside me loosened. If she liked Grandma Redbird, she had to be an okay person, or vampire, or whatever. Right? As I'm sure you already know, vampires... Neferet paused and smiled at me. Even fledgling vampires have unusual powers of recovery. Her healing is proceeding so well that it is perfectly safe for her to leave the infirmary. She looked from Grandma to me. Zoe, would you like to meet your new roommate? No. I swallowed hard and nodded. Yes? Excellent, Neferet said.